Hello, my name is Dr. Roger Elmer, Advanced Neurospinal Solutions, and you brought your child in because you'd like to learn more about the brain, how it functions, and you may be dealing with certain challenges, autistic spectrum disorders, maybe learning disorders. And so this presentation is to help you understand a little bit better about the brain, how it develops, and why some of those challenges exist. And it leads to possibilities and options to actually change the brain and help it develop. So the first thing I would like to go over is how the brain develops. As a child is born, the baby's brain and nervous system are basically inert. They haven't been developed yet. And so it's an uncharted territory. It's not an adult brain that's in a small form. It's an undeveloped brain. And it depends upon movement in order to develop. It depends upon sensation to grow the tracts of the brain. And so because it depends on movement to feel and feeling to grow, it's a conundrum where the system has to have some kind of a kickstart to engage it to grow the brain. That kickstart is known as primitive reflexes. Primitive reflexes are basic hardwired reflexes that are designed into or hardwired into the brainstem to relate to basic functions, mostly survival, and the actual birth process too. The baby actually contributes to birthing. And so these reflexes get the movement started so that the actual sensation can begin the development of the brain. So if you're developing a brain, it's like building a house.
You can't see it.
Can't see it? If I do this,
There you
you
go.
see that?
Yeah.
Primitive reflexes. They are the foundation that creates the movement, and that movement allows the sensation. The sensation begins to build the brain. So if I have a brain and a brain stem with the cerebellum here, I'm going to create movement like breathing. Didn't have to breathe when you were inside the womb, but as soon as the baby comes out, the cord doesn't help, and so now we have to breathe on our own. So we have within the brainstem a hardwired reflex that causes us to breathe. So it stimulates the movement, kind of like a kickstart of a lawnmower. All of a sudden the lawnmower goes, and it can keep going as long as it doesn't run out of gas. Well, this stimulates the movement of the body, and breathing is a whole body experience. So all those muscles and tendons and joints are going through mobility, which at the same time also sends signals back up to the brain and begins to build different parts of the brain. Because I'm actually moving and sensing, I can send information now to the frontal lobes, and because I'm moving, to start to develop the higher centers within the frontal lobe. And we depend upon that frontal lobe for not just survival, but for our personality, our ability to think, our ability to communicate with others and all that. And so this development of that primitive reflex is eventually meant to go away, because then we start taking over the breathing process, and the hardwiring gets overridden. Once we're developing those primitive reflexes, another one is digestion. Digestion and what we call mouthing in neurology. It's because you didn't have to eat inside the womb, now you have to. So now you have to develop all the structures, and we tend to think of it as muscle activities, but really it's driven through neuronal pools. The nervous system drives those muscles, and so as the baby starts to suckle and suck, and as the baby starts to pull things down, to pull the fluids down, it necessitates the development of cranial nerves number 5, the motor pool, cranial nerves number 7, the motor pool, which is movement of the face, facial muscles, and that. It develops the need to swallow, which is